The decision not to target Tokyo with atomic bombs during World War II was a complex one, influenced by a combination of strategic, logistical, and political factors. To understand why the United States chose not to bomb Tokyo, we need to delve into the historical context and the considerations that shaped this pivotal decision. 1. Strategic considerations. The United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 with the primary goal of forcing Japan's surrender. These cities were selected because they were of significant military and industrial importance. Hiroshima, in particular, was an important military headquarters and had a sizable army depot. Nagasaki was a major shipbuilding and industrial center. Tokyo, on the other hand, was already heavily damaged by conventional firebombing raids conducted by the United States Army Air Forces, USAF. These firebombing raids, which began in March 1945, caused widespread devastation and civilian casualties. By the summer of 1945, much of Tokyo was in ruins, and the Japanese industrial capacity was severely crippled. Therefore, it was argued that additional atomic bombings on Tokyo might not significantly hasten Japan's surrender, as the city was already in a state of disarray. 2. Logistical constraints. The development and production of atomic bombs were highly secretive and resource-intensive endeavors. By the summer of 1945, the United States had produced only 2 operational atomic bombs. The ones dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The production capacity for these bombs was limited, and it would have taken several more months to produce additional bombs. Dropping another atomic bomb on Tokyo would have required diverting one of these precious weapons from the planned targets. Given the limited availability of atomic bombs, the U.S. military leadership likely saw greater strategic value in targeting different cities to maximize the psychological shock and demonstrate the destructive power of the atomic bomb. 3. Psychological and political considerations. The use of atomic bombs had profound psychological and political implications. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were intended not only to destroy Japanese industrial and military assets but also to create a sense of awe and fear that would compel Japan's leaders to surrender. President Harry S. Truman and his advisors believed that the shock value of the atomic bombings would be diminished if they were used repeatedly on the same target, such as Tokyo. Additionally, the United States wanted to avoid causing further civilian suffering and casualties if possible. The firebombing raids on Tokyo had already resulted in a staggering loss of life, and using another atomic bomb on the city might have been seen as excessive, especially on the international stage. 4. Diplomatic efforts. In parallel with the atomic bombings, the United States was also engaged in diplomatic efforts to end the war with Japan. These efforts included the Potsdam Declaration, which called for Japan's unconditional surrender, and negotiations with the Soviet Union, which had declared war on Japan. There was a hope that diplomatic pressure, combined with the atomic bombings, would push Japan toward surrender without the need for additional atomic attacks. In conclusion, the decision not to target Tokyo with atomic bombs during World War II can be attributed to a combination of strategic, logistical, psychological, and political factors. While Tokyo was a major city, it had already suffered extensive damage from conventional firebombing raids, and the limited availability of atomic bombs led the U.S. leadership to choose different targets to maximize their impact. Ultimately, the use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, coupled with diplomatic efforts, contributed to Japan's surrender and the end of World War II.